I was just coming out of this recovery from the tumor, and we didn't know we got exposed to black mold. When we moved to our dream home in San Diego that we built from scratch, the developer had put a whole complementary smart home system with like mesh for Wi-Fi and everything. And I didn't know that black mold and electromagnetic frequencies, radiation from cell phones, from cell phone towers, it creates a nightmare in the body. So my husband and I, because the microtoxins get attacked, the mold gets attacked by the microtoxins from the radiation. And I pretty much became like a PhD in electromagnetic frequencies. But all you have to know is if you get exposed to black mold and you're around a lot of radiation, it'll cause havoc in your body. So as we were losing our company of 15 years that we thought was unstoppable, that is the happiest place on earth. Literally, we got to take over 200 vacations. I have a bin this big of hotel keys, a collection of hotel keys from all the different travels. Never thought our company was going to end. It ends at the same time as we had moved back to the USA. We lived in Brazil for 2 years, and the black mold started taking a toll on our bodies. All of a sudden, we felt like we had arthritis all over our bodies. We couldn't breathe. We had high levels of anxiety. Our heart was reacting. We were like, what is going on? Like, we didn't understand. My husband thought he had a heart attack. He was so sick.
I'm so excited once again to be here on the On Target for Success podcast. My guest today, you are going to absolutely love her. Just a bundle full of energy and positivity and all good vibes. One more powerful woman in our high vibe tribe. We've got Yvette Ulloa here, entrepreneur, VP of Warriors and Queens, a company, now listen to this, that empowers dream relationships. Woo-hoo! I'm so excited about this interview. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Amy. It is such a pleasure to connect with you and be here with all these amazing ladies. We are on target for success, and I'm really, really blessed to be here today.
Oh, we are. I know you are an exceptional woman that is such an inspiration. I want to even start out because your background story, it's so incredible. And I think people really, really, really need to hear that are coming here and trying to make a new life. So if you would please share about what it was like, to grow up in Bolivia and then move to the US. What is that even like?
Absolutely, Amy. Well, I was actually born in Queens, New York, which is so funny. And then when I was a baby, my parents moved to Bolivia. So I was raised in South America.
It's a plot twist too. You actually were born.
Is a plot twist. I did a opposite of what most people do, and so I grew up in Bolivia and in a beautiful small town, Santa Cruz. It's very tropical. It's like Brazil. When I was little, my parents are both music teachers, so they wanted me to go to the best school in Bolivia. And they were teaching at the German school. So I ended up going to a German school in Bolivia where we only spoke German, and we really, really worked on our language and traveling to Germany eventually. So I went to school in Germany. And then when I was 13, my parents decided we're going back to the USA. So 1983, we moved to the USA. I was a little girl. I was so confused. I went into culture shock to see a completely different country. And we grew up very, very humble when we moved here. We gave everything up in Bolivia. We had a nice life there. And we basically started from scratch. My parents were cleaning houses. They were painting houses, doing whatever it took to put a foot on the table. And it really taught us a lot of being humble and growing and just getting adjusted to a whole new world. They sacrificed a lot for us.
Wow. Is that where you think you got your kind of gypsy spirit because you traveled so much when you were younger?
Probably. And as a matter of fact, my dad and my mom, they love to travel. So every weekend in Bolivia, we would go to some kind of an adventure, 3, 4, 5 hours away. We would travel within Bolivia. So I did get a very adventurous spirit, the type of, just leave everything behind, pack 2 suitcases and move somewhere and create a new adventure. So definitely I got it from my parents.
That's so cool. I didn't know that you lived in Germany. So because I speak German too, and I used to live in Germany. So where did you
Oh,
yeah, where did you live in Germany?
well, it's so interesting because when you go to the German school, you spend your last 2 years in Germany. So I was getting ready to leave to Germany when my parents changed the plans and we actually moved to the USA. So I
Wow.
never got to go to Germany. And
Oh, oh.
when we came to the USA, I had to block out my German so I could learn English. It
So
was very confusing.
yeah, how old were you when you came to the US?
13.
Oh, okay, so in 8th grade, like you've spoke German, and what did you so your parents were American though? Did they speak English at home?
My parents were Bolivian, so they were here with the Peace Corps for a couple of years when I was born, and then went back to Bolivia to raise me.
That is really interesting. I didn't know people from other countries come here with the Peace Corps. That in and
Yeah,
of itself is a cool thing.
yeah. My dad was a citizen, and so they were able to do it that way. But yeah, they're both Bolivians. So I grew up with very Latin roots, but also with a beautiful American spirit.
Yeah, because I can see you've got that little like fun pop to you, and then you speak German. You're so fun. You're so fun. Well, and then so you grew up. Wow, I can't even imagine. That is really really cool culturally. So, what are some of the takeaways that you experienced by being in all these different cultures?
Oh my goodness. I really got to enjoy the spirit of being alive. Being in Bolivia, every weekend people get together for family barbecues. They're all about enjoying. They celebrate carnival in a beautiful, loving way. And it's just the spirit of entertainment. My parents are both musicians, so we would always have the guitars and go to the barbecues and sing and dance. So it's just a beautiful spirit of sharing music,
Yeah.
contributing to other people. And my parents always lived a life of contribution. So they would always have their guitars in the car just in case. You never know who you're going to play a song for somebody, or maybe stop at a convalescent home and sing, to the elderly. So they've always done that since I was little. And so we've always lived the spirit of music and being alive from the culture. And then we brought that to the USA.
That's really cool. So did they do the Peace Corps in Bolivia then too? Like, was
No,
that a
they did it only in the USA.
well, tell people because I don't know if everybody even knows what the Peace Corps is.
To be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm actually setting up a call with my dad. He's in Bolivia right now to find out more about that world because I never really asked questions. I said he was just in the Peace Corps with mom. 2 years I was born, and voila. So
Yeah.
some type of contribution project
Okay.
come in and give up themselves and work on some project. So, but I will definitely find that out.
Well, we'll add a little link here in the podcast because that was something that I wanted to do, but it just didn't pay enough. That's my entrepreneurial spirit because I thought you could get visas to go help in other countries, but I always had that travel bug as well. That's why I think you and I connected so well. It's like, oh, but the world is filled with beautiful people, and you just want to try their foods and their cultures and their
Well,
just learn from them. Everyone has something beautiful to contribute.
yes.
It's so awesome. Well, then, okay, so then you grew up here, and then did you go to college here?
Yeah, I went to school here. I went to California State University, Northridge. I was already working full time, but by that time, and going to school part time. And so I graduated from there in communication and English.
Yeah.
And I decided to become a public servant. So I worked for the city of Burbank, California for over 10 years. I built my career there. I climbed up the ladder. And my last job with the city of Burbank, I was the director of economic development. So I
Yeah.
negotiated for Yahoo to come to the city of Burbank. I worked with NBC, Disney, all the studios. I was the liaison between the city council and the studios. So it was a very incredible job. And it was also incredibly overwhelming because it took a lot out of me. I worked 60-hour weeks sometimes. And I had to represent the city at all these events and negotiations and things. So it was really, really hard. And I know there's a lot of women that are listening that are on target for their success, and they're overwhelmed. They are working hard. They have multiple roles, career, children, family to take care of. And I really feel you because that's where I was at.
Yeah, and working in, because you're such a bright light, and then you transition to entrepreneurship. I can't even imagine you almost staying in that. The 10 years is a long sacrifice, even though you're loving it. Someone like you that has that, like, just that growth mindset. How did you transition? Because that was one of the challenging things. I was like, I couldn't work corporate because I was like, oh, well, we can do this and this, and the time frame that it takes to get things moving sometimes is so slow.
Amy, can we hold really quick? I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I got something in my eye and I can't even blink. I'm so
And take your time. Elisa, can we pause here now?
Can we pause really quick? Just
I
give me
think
a
there's a
second.
pause. Pause. Think we are rolling. There we go. Okay. So, as the head of economic development, doing all of these things, what were some of the hardest experiences that you learned from during that time, like working for somebody else?
Wow. One of the toughest experiences I learned, Amy, was the fact that they owned my life. Pretty much, if
Wow.
they had something planned that needed to go to council on a certain week, I had
Yeah.
to cancel my vacation. I had to come in the weekend and type out the report. If the city council did not like something, they would kick it back and, okay, go do new research. We need you to go talk to the studios. And so I was so overwhelmed and overworked. And sometimes I did feel underappreciated. I put in a lot of heart and soul into my job, and it just was never enough. And
Yeah.
the hardest thing was when the pay cuts started to come around and there wasn't enough of a budget. And then I had to lay off my
Oh,
team that had been there for me, that had worked so hard to support my projects. I had to sit down one on one with everybody and lay them off. Almost my entire department disappeared overnight.
wow. So having that pain, then I always like to ask, I always believe like your tests become your testimonies, your pain becomes your gain. Is that how then you morphed into entrepreneurship, or what was that turning point, like that pain
Yeah,
that really motivated you?
yeah, that is a great question. My turning point was because of all the stress accumulating and accruing. And at the time, my husband was a police officer for the LAPD. So he was
Wow.
incredibly stressed out himself. He was working in one of the most dangerous areas of LA. He worked the graveyard shift where all the crazy things happen. And so I was leaving to work at 7 a.m. as he was coming home from work. And one of those nights, he ended up in the hospital because they almost shot him. They actually were trying to take him out, and so he comes. He's all bandaged. I literally, it was close to Halloween. I remember I literally thought I was seeing a ghost because it was all white, bandage, and I was like, "What the heck?" Like I got so scared because it was 3 in the morning. They had dropped him off from being at the hospital, and it was a big call in my
Wow.
life and his, like, we've got to do something different. And so all that stress, I ended up in the hospital with an ulcer and
Oh,
staying there overnight. And I just remember there was some kind of an emergency and the city council needed me to finish a report. So they somehow gave me the message at the hospital that I needed to finish typing something up and researching something because I was the only one that knew my job. And that's the day that I said, I got to change something about my life.
you're
You know?
kidding. Yeah. In the hospital, you can't even get a break in the hospital.
Yeah, they sent work to the hospital because it needed to, be completed by
Wow.
a certain date. And I mean, I'm not blaming them. They were wonderful to work for.
Yeah.
But that's just not the way I wanted to live my life. And I remember being down on my knees and I just asking, like, God, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something else for me. I feel like I'm a zombie. I feel like
Yeah.
the life in me is gone. And I was just praying for something to come into my life.
Yeah. I just what you were alluding to earlier, like so many women, I noticed that they, because of no like fault of their own, just life happens sometimes. That's why we do what we do. We help women convert their wealth into wisdom, and just because they're struggling so much, and but yet you had all of these skills. Like I would have loved to like grab you at that time because you're so talented. You're running these huge projects, being underappreciated, overworked, and I mean, like you said, everybody's doing the best that they can. And then how do you even maintain sanity when your husband's putting his life on the line? I have so much mad respect for police officers. They get I think, there's always going to be interesting people in every field, but the majority of them put their life on the line every single night and are so underappreciated as well. So just a big shout out, to all the men and women in blue. And, but as even a wife of that, how are you worried about your husband every night going to work, right?
I did not have a good night's sleep. I was constantly worried, stressed out about my own job, about his job. And then I
Mhm.
slowly watched his light dim. I
Oh,
watched him being an amazing superhuman, just
yeah.
slowly just wanting to dim his light, not wanting to deal with people. He got to a point where he didn't even want to open the door if the UPS guy was coming. He would be like, baby,
Oh,
you get it. I don't want to see people. Like I've seen the worst in people, and I just he started losing trust with
yeah.
humanity, with that there's something much bigger than us. And I just watched his light be dim as well as mine.
It's yours. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, wow, so here you guys are both mirroring each other, and you're keeping the I know you just with your optimism. The just I can see you guys trying to keep each other up. What advice do you have for women who are in that situation to be able to draw strength? Like, where did you draw strength when things are that difficult?
Yeah, for me, Amy was a higher source, even though I didn't at the time didn't consider myself religious or anything. But I remember just getting down on my knees and praying and asking, like,
Yeah,
if
for
there
you.
is a God, please help me. Please help me find this. This is not what life is supposed to be about. And I just remember praying and praying. And so if you're a lady that's listening to this incredible podcast and you might be so overwhelmed and frustrated, and there's got to be another way. So often we're looking at the door that is closing, and then we are like beating ourselves up over our choices, our attitudes, our decisions, that we fail to see the door that is opening, Amy. And there's
Amen.
this lovely door. Every single time a door has closed in my life, there was a much bigger door that was open, but so often I was staring at the wrong side,
Mm.
beating myself up over what I didn't have or didn't do or didn't accomplish. And, we are so good at beating ourselves up sometimes that I didn't see the light that was coming. And it wasn't a train. Right. It was something good coming my way.
Yeah, wow, well said. So what was your kind of like dark day of the soul? Like when you were getting on your knees, was it after the hospital
Yeah.
night then?
It
Wow.
was right after the hospital. I did not want to go back to work. I did not want to go back to work. I didn't want to write one more report. I didn't want to look at one more statistic. I didn't want to get one more phone call from the studio. And I just, I really said something's got to change. I don't care what happens for
Yeah.
both my husband and
So you just couldn't force yourself. That's where your soul is like, I'm stopping you,
I.
right? So
Yeah.
then you so how so okay, so that's the dark thing. I love what you were saying about the door. So that was your stop, that was your turning point, your pain. Now how do you transition that? Like what was the door that opened that moved you into the amazing world of entrepreneurship? I like to
Oh,
call it.
that is such a funny story, Amy, because I was like, I'm going to try everything. So I opened up a boutique because
Right?
my husband and I, we watched the show The Apprentice, and it was about, people who wanted to become business owners. And we were watching.
Yes.
He's like, babe, what do you love to do? And I said, I love shopping. He goes, well, let's make money with your dream. We read the
Yes.
book Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert
Yes. Yes.
Kiyosaki, and we're like, okay, we're gonna open the boutique, and I'm gonna make lots of money, and I'm gonna leave my job. It was the biggest disaster, Amy. It was
Aw.
such a disaster. Here's my husband selling women's clothes on the weekend, and that some lady comes and she returns a jacket that was ripped. And she goes, your husband told me that this fit me really well. Then what? He's like, we gotta make rent. We literally should not have gotten into that business. And I love the book by John C. Maxwell where he calls it failing forward, Amy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
not failing. Failing is learning.
Right.
So we broke down all the lessons that we learned from that business. We lost money, but then we were like, okay, back to the book, back to the apprentice. Like, what else do we love to do? We're like, travel. Okay, let's make money. We were traveling at the time to little places. So we're like, let's bring artifacts from every country and resell them. That was going to be our brilliant business idea. So we found a place that you rent a little, shelf. It's called Made for people that do arts and crafts. And we were selling things there. And, we made a little money. We were shocked. We actually sold a chess set that we bought in Ecuador. It was like the Spaniards against the Indians playing chess with the little pieces. Like, it was just so unique. And we bought it for $15 and we sold it for $600.
Woo!
And we thought we're going to make it. We're going to be rich. Dad, can you bring more chess sets from Ecuador? We didn't sell one more, girl. Okay. We had 6 standing there forever and nobody else bought. It was a collector that had bought them. But anyway, the reason I share that is sometimes you just got to be able to fail and give it a try and give it a try. Our love for travel awakened us. And because we had this store, this failing boutique clothing store, we had just joined a Tony Robbins university, which was a year program. It cost $10,000. And one of the trips was called Life Mastery. And it was either in Fiji or in Palm Springs, California. So my husband and I kept on arguing. I want to go to Fiji. I want to go to Palm Springs. I don't want to work any overtime. I don't want to go to Fiji. That's too expensive. And I was like, babe, let's find a way. One of the biggest pieces of advice, let's find a way. Let's figure it out because you open yourself up to seeing possibilities that you wouldn't if you're stuck on the problem. The guy next door in our boutique, in our little clothing store, he told us, hey, I want to invite you to this travel orientation on Tuesday. We're like, what? Travel orientation? I'm like, what kind of travel? Can you get us to Fiji? He goes, yeah, I can get you to Fiji. I'm like, I'm there. So I didn't know what it was about, but I told my husband, I thought we were going to become travel agents. So I said to Tavi, I said, babe, I think there's a way we can go to Fiji. So please come with me. We were invited to this event, Amy. It was at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Wow.
Okay, parking alone cost $30. And I'm like, travel agents are meeting at the Beverly Hills Hotel? Well, it ended up being a network marketing direct sales company that was selling travel.
So cool.
They were just launching. So my husband and I showed up. We're like, let's be in the back in case they try to sign us up. We're Latinos. I got my arms crossed. I got my legs crossed. I look at my husband. He has his eyes crossed. Like, what is he trying to tell us? And the guy said something in the front of the room that changed our lives. He goes, what's bigger, your ego or your bank account? Well, that guy has a point because our bank account was on threads. We were trying to make it, and we saw somebody that was successful, that was living their dream, that was traveling around the world and helping other people. So when they hand out the applications, I'm filling mine out because I'm like, we're going to Fiji. Yes. And I'm over, and he's filling one out. And I'm like, what do you do? She goes, babe, you do this for the travel. This is my ticket out of the LAPD. Wow. The entrepreneurship part of direct sales and network marketing. And that was the beginning of the most incredible life, Amy. We rode travel wave for 16 years with the same company. We helped people have incredible travel experiences around the world. We had our little tagline that said, you could be here. I think I gave you a sign.
Yeah, I'm remembering it.
All we did was help people vacation. And so I was able to leave my job within 6 months. He was able to leave his job, and we became full-time entrepreneurs from that day on.
And that is a beautiful story because you kept your eyes open to the possibilities. And I love that you question what great sales that they did too by asking those questions that hook your mind, right? I always tell with people like questions, hook your mind, open up to your subconscious, open you up to possibility. And after you learn those few things, I love applying those into business, right? To help people get out of their own way. Because had you stayed put in that fear, you would have missed out on all of that, but they had to open you up. So kudos to them. And it's so cute that they must have done a great sales presentation, right? Because they got both of you. Thank God for good salespeople to get us out of our way.
Then I,
Honestly.
goodness, they were so incredible. And they said some things that shocked us, that made us look at our life. I thank God every day for that day because our entire life changed. And I was able to have a talk with my boss and say, hey, you can have this job and give it to somebody who needs it because I don't need it anymore. And then
What did
watching,
that feel like? What did
oh
that
my
feel like
God.
that day? Like just to that day, what was going through your mind, like as you're prepping?
Oh, I was so stressed out. I was sick. I just was not feeling good anymore. And walking into that office and just experiencing that taste of freedom, I was truly, truly owning it that I had the freedom to choose my life. And
Yeah.
it was after all the sacrifice
I
and years
love
and hardship and tears and sweat and, slaving away, just doing whatever they needed me to do. It was a breakthrough moment for both of us to be able to leave our jobs.
So you mean we have the freedom to choose?
100%. And when you open yourself up to that freedom, you will see the doors that are opening. There are doors that will come to you. Even if you're not wanting to open a door, pay attention when something like that shows up. Because how in the heck I opened a boutique that was failing. We were about to close it. We had all this clothes we had bought, inventory, taxes, and we
Yep.
were so overwhelmed. And all of a sudden, the guy that sold vitamins comes and invites me. And he tells me, I'm closing my vitamin store because I'm in the travel business and it's very profitable. And I'm like, what? Like, I thought travel agents were dead. Like, we're done with brick and mortar. He's like, oh, this is an orientation. Come see us. He did the right thing. He invited me and he kept me curious. And I thank that man for the rest of my life for having the courage to give me that card and invite me.
Oh, and just invite, right? And that's coming back to that because I love direct sales so much as a model for first time entrepreneurs because the systems are in place. You have to have the product that you believe in. That's one thing, it's not about making the money. It's really about like, does this product change somebody's life? Is this product valid? But the systems for somebody that's never been in business are phenomenal to teach you. And what were some of the nuggets from like take us a little bit through that journey because I think there's so many women that were like sitting in their jobs and they're like I don't have a way out because what happens I have to make this money. I'm a single mom or my husband depends on me or we're a two house income whatever and the fear is really debilitating. And so what's something that you could say to them because this guy invited you? What could you invite them to do today to take the first steps? Like what would be some cool things that you could recommend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Direct sales network marketing is one of the best ways to get started in entrepreneurship. If it wasn't for that, I would not be the entrepreneur that I am now. And now I have my own company. I've diversified. But if I can give you one piece of advice, ladies, if you are in this amazing industry of direct sales and marketing, is rejection is your best friend. You have to get amazing at embracing rejection because I had people close to me reject me. I had my brother reject me. I had my brother's girlfriend reject me. I had people make fun of me at the city of Burbank. I had people calling me, oh, there goes the travel girl. Or what are you in a travel cult? People made fun of me. But guess what? My dream was way bigger than any of their opinions. And I just kept on getting up. I kept on getting up. I kept on getting up. And I did not allow their small opinion to determine my future. So I because I had a dream that God put in my heart, and not because I was gonna please this, or this person. So embracing the rejection and not letting it take you out of the game. Because if
Yeah.
you buy people's opinions, you're going to have to buy their lifestyle. And they don't pay you. They don't live the life that you want. Why get advice from somebody like that?
Right? Oh my gosh. So many gold nuggets in that little segment right there. Woo! Yvette's on fire, ladies. Are you hearing it? She is saying, amen. I'm just like all up in here. Yes, 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 yes.
We're
Preach
gonna
it,
work.
girl. Because you walk it, right? And I'm reading that book. What is it? Never Split the Difference? That negotiation. It's really good. We're doing it in our morning book club with my women's book club. But one of the things that I'm working with them, I'm like, yes, this is negotiation. He's like hostage negotiation he's using, but he says, get to the no, right? Because people, whenever they're used to you being one way, when you say, this is what I want to do, the criticism is so strong that like, you're crazy. And I love what you said, you're buying their life. But the no for me, I learned this a long time ago. No means next opportunity. And
Wow.
oh, it's like next opportunity. I was like, yes, thank you. And you just want to get to the no. Is there real objection? Like you learn more from the no's, right? Than the yeses.
That yeah, the no's are your best friend, and you just, I would make goals and say, okay, my goal is to get to 100 no's as fast as possible, and not look
Yes.
how many yeses I get along the way. So I've been like, hey, listen, I'm showing a new marketing program. Can I just show it to you, and can you be one of the ones that tells me no? Because I got to get 100 no's. I mean, I got to get 100 no's, and people are like, yeah, of course. Okay, just watch it, and then they would say, I kind of like it. I'm like, no, 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 you're supposed to tell me no because I need 100 no's. And a lot of times people would end up buying with just doing that test marketing strategy.
It's brilliant.
So don't
That
expect yourself to getting a yes. Just go through the no's as fast as possible.
that is so brilliant. See that, and who taught you that? That's phenomenal.
To be honest with you, I don't remember. I think listening to some of the Jim Rohn CDs really
Yeah.
helped at the beginning
Oh,
of network marketing, where he would
yes.
say, that's for the birds. Don't ask. Just go and get a no and be okay with that. So I think Jim Rohn influenced some of that 100. I think he had 10 no's, and I just took it to 100.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I love it. It's oh, ladies, listen to this. Woo! Because now we know what motivated you. Like you were just at your end, your pain was greater, so it pushed you out. But then stepping into the office that day to tell your boss you were nervous, but the freedom was calling you more than the pain. You're like, woo! And then, because a lot of times I noticed too, like, was it hard because your family were like, you have a great job, you're leaving this amazing because you are, a person of authority, you were making good money, you had status, and then you're like, yeah, but I'm going to travel. I'm curious to what the feedback was from your family.
That's a great question, Amy. I think they thought that I had some kind of midlife crisis in my young 30s because I remember my mom had my dad call me from Bolivia, and also my
Wow.
uncle, because they were both in like economic development in Bolivia. So they were like, you're crazy. Like, you have benefits, you have a phenomenal job, like one of the highest in the city. You're number two to the mayor. Don't do it. You've had a career of 10 years. And I just knew if I stayed in that job, just my spirit would die slowly. And I said, thank you. And I appreciate you. But unfortunately, I have already made that decision. And I really had to take a stand against many people who thought I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy is one of the best things that happened to me, Amy, because went on this high of building our entrepreneur team and helping people, and network marketing is such a high because you are meeting all your needs at a high level. You're contributing, you're
Yes.
rising up, you're feeling significant, you're feeling certainty, you're feeling adventure, your
Yes.
spirit is, there's growth and contribution. all your needs are like on heightened alert. You're like, woo, woo, woo. And then to
Yeah.
do this with my husband, we started loving each other again. We started enjoying our time together again. I
Wow.
started watching his light start to light up again. We were like talking about our common dream, and we couldn't wait to work an hour a night on our personal business so that we could one day, leave our full time job. So it was a beautiful, beautiful transition time for us.
Yeah, I do. I agree with all those things. I love the camaraderie. I love the personal development. Like just the things that the takeaways that are in network marketing to build your character. Because I know you're one of the things that you're really passionate about is empowering women, right? Through like you do retreats and coaching. And is this like where you morphed into? So tell us how you're on this high, right? And then COVID happens.
Yes, yes. And if we could rewind 3 years before COVID,
Yes.
our travel company that we had a small ownership percentage, but we were marketers for this company of, 16 years. 2017, there was fraud from China and the company lost
Mhm.
millions of dollars. So we were kind of on a recovery phase from that. And we were just really, really catching up and trying to make everything good again. So it
Yeah.
took 2 years to kind of rebuild from all that loss. The entire company and all the leaders, we worked together. And what started to happen is my husband and I were in charge of training. So we were the first big trainers for the company. So we would travel around and train teams. Sometimes I would go to South Africa, he would go to Australia. So we were traveling like really long distances to launch a new country, to build out the company internationally. And what started to happen, Amy, is our marriage started just
Yeah.
slowly diminishing. And
Mhm.
we weren't seeing each other as often. And I had become extremely competitive with him. So I was just like, so how many sales? So what did your market close at? My sales were this. And I was just, it was an unhealthy competition. It wasn't an uplifting, loving, honoring type of relationship. And because we were spending more and more time separated, we were in different continents. Sometimes we couldn't
Wow.
talk, timelines, differences. And at the same time, I got diagnosed with an incurable illness. So then I started going through my whole healing ordeal and looking for answers, and all kinds of things were happening. And it was like the perfect storm where our marriage started diminishing. And so we started seeking teachers. And we started, we went to Tony Robbins, and we told him we were platinum partners at the time with him. So we were part of his little, inner
Yeah.
circle. So he said, Tony, who are the best teachers on relationships? He's like, well, I learned from, Allison Armstrong. I learned from this
Wow.
guy, this guy. So he gave us the names, and we started diving deep because we loved each other so much, Amy. And we could see that our marriage was suffering. We were not getting along. There was a lot of tension. And so we started seeking out these teachers, and we started getting fascinated with the information because it started changing our lives. Like,
Oh,
almost immediately. And we were like, oh my God, this works. So what we would do sales trainings around the world with our company. And at the end, people always wanted to ask their relationship questions. So they were like, well, my wife doesn't support me doing the business. Well, what do you do with a negative spouse? Or, my wife is upset that I'm getting recognized and she's home with the kids. All kinds of problems we started seeing, and then teaching them our stuff. And they were like, oh my God, this was amazing. It worked. Like, she's happy again. Like, oh,
yeah.
we started getting all these texts. And so we would do sales trainings. More and more people were asking us for the relationship stuff. And we're like, we're here to teach you how to sell. But we understand that if you're not happy at the soul level, there is no sales. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody can sell anything if you're not happy at your marriage. And so we started doing sales trainings combined with marriage and relationship trainings. Because so much of it, if you don't have a great relationship with people, you're
Yeah.
not able to sell them either. If you don't have rapport, if you don't have trust. So we
Right.
started teaching some of those techniques, and it started. So we created a movement called Chosen, and the names of our trainings
Yeah.
are Chosen. Like, many are called, few are chosen. You
Yes.
chosen to step up and live your dream life. And so we started this whole movement of seminars and trainings that would combine the two. And then the pandemic came. And because we were in a travel business, 90% of our memberships, we had 1 million memberships worldwide, Amy.
Wow.
Number disappeared within 30 days.
In 30 days?
Yeah, of the pandemic, because people got so freaked out. So imagine having 1 million members around the world,
Mhm.
trainings, this and that, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
popcorn, they start disappearing because people got so freaked out with the pandemic. And then little by little, that was the beginning of an 8 month, just really difficult time for our company. And little by little, our company died. It could not survive. No matter what we tried, I didn't get paid for 13 months. I said, pay my team. I don't care. And it was so sad because the company couldn't pay people. And then, the memberships were dwindling down. So we said, okay, the door is closing and we've got to embrace that. And that maybe this is the time that we kind of go inward and see what God has planned for us next.
Yeah, well, even backing up, I want to back up too because you're so positive, but I know there's a lot of people out there even with um incurable illnesses, but they're dis-ease, right? They're not at ease. But how could I want you to speak to them because I catch that too, and I notice that there's a trend. This is not new, but one of the things I know is what we talk about, we bring about a lot. And I have certain friends that, how are you? And the majority of their day is spent around this disease or their pain, or a lot of their conversation has become their habit. And how did you get yourself, because when someone gives you that kind of news, right? Can you share that process of receiving that label per se, right? And then saying, I'm not going to let it stop me. And then, what was your process to bring you to this place?
That's a great question, Amy. And to any of my sisters that are listening, I have so much compassion and love for you because truly nobody really understands what it's like to be sick unless
Mhm.
you have gone through it. People will support you and love you along the way, but it was really one of the toughest times of my life. I went in for an x-ray, a dental x-ray, and they found a mass in my jaw. And the lady took me to the back, the doctor, and she said, we got to talk. I see a mass. This doesn't look good. You need to have an immediate biopsy. And I didn't believe her at the time. I'm like, no, I'm like superwoman. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do it holistically, right? I'm
Yeah.
resourceful and I'm positive. But then I called my alternative doctor and I said, what do you think? She told me about this. And he goes, go get the biopsy because the infections of the teeth can travel to the brain. And I had a friend die because he didn't stop the infection. He's like, you do not want to wait on
Yeah.
this. So he kind of scared me a little bit. So I went and found the best of the best. I submitted, I did a biopsy, and then they said it's an ameloblastoma. It's an incurable tumor. It's very aggressive. One day you will chew and your jaw will pretty much break because the tumor takes over the jawbone, and
Wow.
and there's no cure. There is no cure. There's not even chemo or any alternative therapy works for this. And the only solution is to do a surgery, a horrific surgery, Amy. The guy goes and he brings an x-ray of a lady that had the surgery. And I'm looking at this x-ray and she is missing half her jaw in the
Wow.
x-ray. And I'm literally like, and then I see my husband, and he's like swelling up, turning yellow, turning purple, and I'm thinking, babe, come back. It's so,
Yeah.
it's so. I knew I always infused humor to, to ease the moment of
Yeah.
tension. And I said, doctor, I'm a Latina. I don't want you to take my hip bone and do a bone implant because I like to shake it. And well, we may need to do a fibula, like a leg bone implant or your hip bone implant, and do 3 surgeries over a 2-year period. He goes, we're gonna have to wire shut your mouth for 6 months so it can heal. And I'm like, oh no. I like to talk. You can't do that to me.
Yeah.
So he's laughing, my husband's laughing, and he's like, frankly, I've never had anybody be so positive during a
Oh,
process. And for me, Amy, you have to be so careful the messages that you give
that's
yourself
not really,
and the
really,
words that you say to yourself. So I've never called it my illness because it's not mine. It's a process
right.
going through. The moment you change your identity and you call something yours, then it's
Yeah.
become part of your identity. I made sure to detach from it.
That's fine.
The best way, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling low, go do something for somebody else and
Yes.
contribute beyond yourself. Go find people that are hurting more than you. And that's my motto. I go through life with that. And so I said, okay, if I'm gonna go through this, then I'm gonna put a blog out to help other women who aren't paid. And I put my healingblog.com out.
Thank
And
you.
it was to help women who are going through incurable illnesses to keep the positive spirit and the faith. So, Amy, to make a very long story short, I got told no by 12 different doctors. 12 different doctors told me, no, this is the only course. And I just had it in my heart and in my gut that there was something else. I had it. And I
Yes.
told my prayer. And I remember when I ran out of faith and I asked God to give me more faith because I'm like, I ran out. If you want me to submit to the surgery, I will. I will do the surgery. But I think there's a different path for me. Well, I was about to get the surgery, Amy, because I just didn't see another way. And out of the last moment, the day before the surgery, my husband puts in Facebook, he goes, I'm so frustrated with Yvette's condition. I'm praying for a miracle. I'm praying that we find a gift. We always say, what's the gift in this? What's the
Yes,
gift?
I want to get to that. Yes.
Anytime we have a problem, our biggest question is, where's the gift in this?
You're right.
What do we have to learn from this?
Really.
Miracles existed and miracles happened in our life as a result.
Yes. 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 So when he put that on Facebook, then
On Facebook, and we get a guy who calls us. He's a trusted friend, and he was in San Antonio, Texas. And he said, guys, I'm here sitting down with a scientist. He worked on Chernobyl, Russia. He was one of the scientists that went in after the radiation disaster. He's now in the USA. He helps very terminal and very high risk people. And I told him about your condition. I showed him, the information you guys posted on Facebook, and he says he can help you. And I'm like,
yes.
it's the day before surgery. We have already paid.
Girl.
We are like, we have already moved to this place where we're gonna heal for I don't know how many weeks. And I'm beside myself. My husband's like, what do you think? And I'm like, no, we're not going. I'm done. I just need to do the surgery. And then Dave said, babe, there was something in his energy. There was something in his voice. I really feel. And ladies, sometimes we have to be willing to make that one courageous call to somebody that could change their destiny. This is his comfort zone, and he called us. He didn't have to. He could have stayed in his little nice lunch with the scientist. He called us and he tried to convince us to leave the surgery.
Wow.
We were on the plane.
Wow.
And I'm
So
like,
needed for that.
I escaped the surgery. Like brides escape those weddings, I
Wow.
runaway bride, the runaway
Yes.
surgery girl. And we
The
came
night before, girl.
and they
Oh,
were so mad at me. I canceled it. It was $150,000 surgery. So
how?
we did a prayer, my husband and I, even though at the time our relationship to God wasn't close, we meditate a lot still and everything, but we just both prayed and meditated, and the answer was go. Take one more risk. You can always do the surgery in a month. Within a few days, this guy started working miracles with my health. My
Wow.
blood, we took blood tests. Within 5 days, my blood was back to normal. Like my white blood cells were back to normal. And I was like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing in my blood tests.
Yeah, yeah.
There it started a journey that took a few years, Amy, but we were able to cure the tumor. We were able to shrink it with surgery. It's the only known case of a meloblastoma where we actually reversed it, and my doctor doesn't believe it. Like, she's like
Wow.
seeing it, she's like, no, these don't reverse. There's no way. So she
Well,
wanted
you
to
haven't met me yet.
yeah, me. So I had a recording that I listened to every morning, and it was my own voice with beautiful music. And in this recording, I said, I am a miracle the doctors can't explain. I am a
And
miracle the doctors can't explain. I am a miracle
nice.
the doctors can't explain. And I said it in 5 different songs with others, power statements. And
Yeah.
one day I was teaching at a seminar. I hadn't heard that, but I wanted to show it to my students to show what's possible. And I listened to it, and it said, I am a miracle the doctors can't explain. And
Yes.
literally, those are the words I heard from my doctor. This is a miracle. I can't explain. Exactly the same words.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
what a journey. So I got proof. I got scans from like when it was, really big and dark to like more white, and then bones started regrowing, and then bones started regrowing until it's like almost completely gone.
wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Such a blessing, such a miracle. And again, it has nothing to do with me. I
Right?
just asked for faith. I really plugged into a
But
higher
you had
force.
to ask.
Yeah, whoever you plug into, your higher force, there has to be a bigger belief of something else is out there. And for me, it was God. And I am telling you, I cannot even believe it when I look at the scans of like what
I
happened.
believe I believe it. I believe it. I accept it. I receive
Yeah,
it.
I love that. I love that.
I believe it. I believe it. I accept it. I
I
receive it.
believe
Here
it.
we go.
I like that.
These are my moments downloads, right? So, oh, that's such good news. And Ari, you are such an inspiration to all the ladies out there. Just receive it. And I like how you said, I prayed for faith because I was just out of faith. And now, so okay, you've overcome, this whatever label from someone else. You're the miracle, and the doctors can't believe it. I believe it. Then you lost your company during COVID, and you left government. You started your company in a miracle. You got the healing thing. Then COVID happened. You lost 2 companies. And now, so another door opens. So where are we at after COVID now? Because I see you all over the place. It's so cool. We've got Warriors and Queens. We've got podcasts. We got all these cool things. So recently you launched this new venture. And so can you share like what this initiative is about and what inspired you to start it?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking, Amy. And ladies, as you see this, in the comments of the podcast, we want you to share what have been some of those life-changing experiences that have turned your world, forever. And during COVID, you're not going to believe this, Amy. Um, we were exposed to black mold,
Um,
unbeknownst to us, while living in Brazil, while launching our company. So I was just coming out of this recovery from the tumor, and we didn't know we got exposed to black mold. When we moved to our dream home in San Diego that we built from scratch, the developer had put a whole complementary smart home system with like mesh for Wi-Fi and everything. And I didn't know that black mold and electromagnetic frequencies, radiation from cell phones, from cell phone towers, it creates a nightmare in the body. So my husband and I, because the mycotoxins get attacked, the mold gets attacked by the mycotoxins from the radiation. And I pretty much became like a PhD in electromagnetic frequencies. But all you have to know is if you get exposed to black mold and you're around a lot of radiation, it'll cause havoc in your body. So as we were losing our company of 15 years that we thought was unstoppable, that will never, that is the happiest place on earth. Literally, we got to take over, 200 vacations. I have a bin this big of hotel keys, like collection of hotel keys from all the different travels. Never thought our company was going to end. It ends at the same time as we had moved back to the USA. We lived in Brazil for 2 years, and the black mold started taking a toll on our bodies. All of a sudden, we felt like we had arthritis all over our bodies. We couldn't breathe. We had high levels of anxiety. Our heart was reacting. We were like, what is going on? Like, we didn't understand. My husband thought he had a heart attack. He was so sick. And so, through that process, what we learned is that really our destiny was to clean out all areas of our life. We had to leave our business behind. Our health was threatened massively. And the only thing we had was each other, Amy. We lost everything. We lost our wealth. We lost our health. And the
Wow.
only thing was each other. And we were
Mm.
so sick, Amy. Our memory got affected. Like, I remember we were doing Zooms and I would have blackouts and I would just forget what I was talking about. And he would
Wow.
pick up because, we were trying to save our company at the time.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get us Zooms. And then because of the black mold, we started having allergies to technology. So cell phone towers, my head would start like buzzing. Like it was like a bad sci-fi movie. And that's
Wow.
is because more and more people are starting to develop
Yeah.
electromagnetic frequency sensitivity. Their cell phones, they have so much radiation. One day Dave had the cell phone in his pocket of his gym shorts. And then I was like, what is that patch? Like, did you get waxed? I see that there's no hair. He's like, I don't get waxed. I'm like, look, you have no hair. It's like a perfect square. Radiation from his cell phone that was facing his leg so often in that pocket had removed the hair from his leg, Amy.
Wow.
We get these from a bunch of our friends. They're smartphones. Sometimes they leave little burning marks right here. The radiation is strong. And so, like, it was so crazy because we had such a bad reaction. We got so sick. We were close to the military, so they have radars and all kinds of things in San Diego. We were close to a cell phone tower that was affecting us, but it was because of the black mold.
How
So
did you know that just to back up a little bit, because I don't really could you see the mold? Or
we
how did
see it. No, we couldn't see it. But when we left, I started to see because there was, in Brazil, 6 months out of the year, it rains heavily. And a couple rains when there were leaks, I was like, oh, I think that looks like mold. But I'm like, I'm a strong girl. Nothing's going to happen. So we called, we got it fixed. But I guess after we left, we found out that the entire roof was completely moldy because there were some holes and some animals had gotten in it. We're living in close to the jungle in Brazil, not close, but there were waterfalls. It was very third world.
Yeah.
And so we didn't realize we were getting poisoned, but until we got to the USA, because when we left, it was 2G. When we came back, it was 4G. So it had already doubled in frequencies. And so everything was so much stronger. And I started having headaches anytime my husband would turn on his cell phone. And I'm like, wow, what? I'm like, I just got a headache. That was weird. Didn't know anything. There's this whole world of people that suffer from that. And I think people that suffer from things like that where like it was in their head. I so apologize, Amy. And I think destiny had it that I would get something like that so I can build an amount of compassion for people that are sick.
Yes.
So to make a very long story short, that was what sparked us to start our company, Warriors and Queens. Because the love that we had for each other while being sick, it was the only thing we had. He and I, me and him, and nothing else. We had nothing. We lost our house. We lost our business. We lost our wealth. We were able to sell our house barely, but we lost money on it. It was so sad, Amy, but at the same time, it was rejuvenating that destiny had selected to remove everything from us and that we had a blank slate. It was the year of COVID, and I remember going to a networking event, and there was a divorce attorney there. And she told me, these couples during COVID are so angry. I have never dealt with the amount of anger that people are experiencing because of COVID. Now that everybody's at home, nobody can get out. And I have never seen anger so bad amongst couples that I used to go to court, like divorce court. We would usually settle before. I used to go to court maybe once or twice a year. She goes, Yvette, I'm going 4 times a month right now because couples are so aggravated. They want to take it all the way. Their anger is so bad. and they're so angry. But I always tell them, not everybody's ready for divorce, and divorce is like a funeral. You lose
Yeah.
everything for the kids, and you lose half your wealth. So she was trying to talk so many people. She's like, you don't realize that what you guys are doing is going to change the game. The way you guys are doing, you're teaching people how to get along, how to
Yeah.
rebuild soul connection, and also you're teaching people the art of re-falling in love with each other.
Wow. I love it.
And so we decided to take all our teachings from the years that we had taught of relationship and sales. We took out the sales and we decided to make it a whole company to teach people how to have extraordinary relationships.
Wow. So as you're doing that now within the company, like how do people find you and what do you do with them? Like do they come meet somewhere? Is it virtually? Is it
That
tell
is
us a little bit about it.
That is a great question. We decided to, we had a little bit of a following from our network marketing years, and people really loved our stuff, our trainings, our chosen trainings. And so they always kept in touch. So the year of the pandemic, we said, we're going to launch it. We're going to do it. I don't care. We were still kind of sick, Amy. We
Yeah.
said, in November 2020, we did our first retreat, and we had like 38 people come. I remember we had to distance everybody 6 feet.
Wow.
Everybody had to wear masks. They
Good
came.
for you guys. Good for you guys.
So we just decided to teach the stuff that had kept us together through the fire.
Oh,
And then we started getting these crazy testimonials, Amy, like crazy. Like one night, and my marriage has already changed. Or, we had a lady that dated for 30 years because she had such a bad experience with her previous marriage. She came out of that seminar and she found the love of her life within a month.
I'm ready to come.
Yeah. There are things we do that we don't realize that could be affecting who we attract into our life.
Yeah.
And so we teach that at Warriors and Queens. We teach people, we call it how to unfrog yourself and your partner if you have one, so that you can have that king that you are craving to have in your life. And
Oh, there's multiple reasons we're on the podcast today.
100%. And you know what? That is, I was so close to losing my marriage because I was sacrificing my marriage for my success. And now what I teach women is you don't have to sacrifice it. You don't have to give one up for the other. You can have both, but there is a very specific way that you attract your husband, because although he might love it that you're an amazing, strong, powerful woman, there's also things that he needs at the soul level, like being your hero, like being your provider. So can you be that strong, confident woman that also allows him to gift you, to receive, to do things for you where you receive him? And it's a very careful balance, and we teach that. So we started with one retreat, then had two the next year. Then from there, we launched a mastermind. So people spend 9 months with us in a deep dive, mostly couples, but we also have a lot of singles that take our program because they want to attract the right man into their life. They don't want to make those mistakes, right? So we have an intensive called the Unshakable Love Mastermind. And people spend 9 months. Enrollment is closed. We only open enrollment once a year for that. We have a retreat coming up in September that people can come to in Florida. And you are my friend.
Thank you. Where is it at in Florida?
It is in West Palm Beach.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Setting, beautiful hotel. And so from there, we launched our podcast. We have our Warriors and Queens podcast. Listen to how our life changed out of Tony Robbins' intervention, where we were that couple that I didn't know how to love him. I didn't know how to receive from him. I didn't know how to be a great partner. I just knew how to be a strong, successful woman. And we were not jiving. And that intervention changed it all. That's the very first podcast. And there on, Amy, just the opportunity started coming. We had a big Tony Robbins group ask us to speak in Croatia on a yacht. And then I recently got asked to speak at a huge women's leadership conference on relationships. And not the conference is on relationships, but I'm going to speak on relationships. And because relationships can make you or break you. You can have career, business wise, but if you're not happy at the soul level, it is
Yeah.
really hard on you. It is, we are
Yeah.
born to be in community, to be
Then-
in family, but too many women have had bad experiences. They're not giving love a chance.
Right?
We can help you create that chance in a safe way that
So beautiful.
helps you build your feminine self-worth again, ladies, and also in a way that you receive a man who is a provider, a protector, who will honor you, be in integrity, and also create that soul connection that we long for.
Mm, yes, yes, yes. You hear that, ladies? Oh, my single ladies. Oh, no, actually, if they're married too, right? Because you're
If
gonna
it-
do both.
yeah,
It,
a lot of married ladies don't have that devotion, that cherished devotion from their men, and they're craving that. And we are specialists in helping them get that.
yes, yes, yes. So here's my other. So is this your legacy project then? Is this what the work that
Is
you're
our
doing?
legacy project, and we had to walk through the fire, Amy, to get there because we would fight it. We were like, can somebody really have a successful relationship company? Like, being entrepreneurs, we almost didn't think that we had limitations around it, but the results speak for themselves because we've been in business 4 years and the growth has been massive and organic, Amy.
Yes.
So this couple goes and they have massive transformations. So everybody's like, what happened to you guys? Are
I
you
love it.
fight? You're like acting like you're newlyweds. What happened to you? And so now they go and they come back to the next Warriors in Queens with 4 couples. You know, they go and then tell the word, and that's how it's gotten out. And so we're just incredibly grateful because we get to live our mission every single day. Last month, we launched our academy. So people that can't come to the live retreat, they can go online and learn. And they get every month, they get a video training, they get an assignment, and then we have a coaching call to help them dive deep into what they learn so that they condition in the behavior because we are all about long lasting change. We don't want you to come to a retreat and be rah-rah and then 3 months
Yeah.
later forget what you learned. We're all about conditioning the change in so that you step into who you're supposed to be, not who your trauma made you to be.
Ooh, well said. Well said. And it is about long lasting change. You go to those places and you get the emotional high, and then you see people come home, they don't implement, they don't change. I'm so glad that that they have you along the path. They're just coming to retreat, but you continue on with them. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
So, what advice do you have then for someone who's stuck then maybe in this relationship or looking for someone to like take the first action?
Yes, one of the first actions that I would really have you work on is you've got to clean up your side of the street first. You know, a lot of times people come in, they're like, why isn't my king, showing up? And I always say, because you got to get rid of the joker. Sometimes we collapse ourselves to dating men that are not healthy for us just to have a man with us. So we've got to clean up the reasons why we do that. We got to build up our self-worth as women. We got to honor not just our masculine side that goes and gets stuff done and goes and accomplishes things, but there's this natural, feminine, loving, honoring side that's dying to be seen. And if we make that wrong, then we're only going to attract pleasers, toxic masculine men, people that don't deserve us because they're attracted to only that strong side of us. Exactly. And so you've got to nurture yourself. You got to fill your tank because your physiology determines your life. You are going to attract that person. Show up. If you're not filling your tank and if you're running on empty and if you're not taking care of yourself, during the pandemic, we had a joke that none of us ever got out of our sweats and a funny
messy bones.
But there is a part of us that is dying to be nurtured and loved and honored. So that would be the first step. And that's what we do. We help you clean up your side of the street first because there is no way you're going to cut patterns that are unhealthy in your life unless you do that first.
Exciting stuff, girl. Exciting stuff. I can't wait. Palm Beach, baby. Palm Beach. So, because you're closed enrollment for your 9 month, But the next thing where people can get involved, they can always listen to your podcast. Can they come into the academy already?
They can. We just opened it last month, so we have an amazing academy. We already had 33 students that are enrolled. So our academy is a 12-month program. You kind of go on your own time, which is super cool for the people that don't
Yeah.
have a lot of time. But we're also about lasting change. So you get that coaching to help you break through along the way. And it's like going to a retreat, but you break it down in bite-sized pieces. So if you can't travel to Florida, that's available for you.
Yeah, I like how that outreach is available. That's so great. So I have a couple other questions because you're such a powerful woman, and we usually don't get there by ourselves, right? There's usually some shoulders that you stood on. So what is it? Give me one woman that was like your rock or your mentor, like that really changed your life.
That is a beautiful question. I've had a couple mentors, and one I would have to say Allison Armstrong. Yeah, the Queen's Code, and that book really changed my marriage to Dave. Unfortunately, that book is not in print anymore, but Dave and I do teach a lot of her stuff because we got certified by her. We spent an entire year with Allison, and
Yeah.
5 deep dive weekends plus 8 separate. We mastered 16 different topics in understanding women and understanding men. And so we were able to receive some of the most incredible mentorship the last year that she ever made the certification available. So we are the
Wow.
only couple in the world that got certified by Allison to get her work out into the world, Amy. So we're
Is that appointed or what?
grateful.
Oh my, I remember speaking at it was like seminar of the century or something. She was there.
Oh,
And I was like, I want to learn from this woman. I had listened to her talks. She was so good. Oh my gosh, I can feel you. I can feel that coming
she
through. What
is so
that
incredible, and her teachings change our marriage. They teach partnership, and we have the most incredible partnership with my husband. And I remember the last day we certified, she came to the room and she pulled us to the side and she looked at us in our eyes and she said, "You guys have my permission to be bigger than I am. Go get them." And I was crying, I was bawling because she's just such a light in people's lives. Helped so many people.
Yes.
She's kind of taken her teachings to another place. She's doing more of the partnership rather than what she originally taught, which how to unfrog your husband or your partner. How to unfrog yourself because we turn ourselves into frogs in the process.
Ribbit.
Concept is that through things that we do, we end up turning a perfectly great man into a frog. Is the opposite. And so we teach you how to turn your man into a king so that you can get that cherished devotion that you deserve.
Well, good on Allison. I'm so glad that this is like just so divinely transitionally perfect. I can see it. So another thing, like I totally believe in the quality of questions changing the quality of your life. What is the question that someone asked you in the past that changed your life?
Oh, that is great. I think one of our teachers in when we got certified to coach, he would always ask us that when we were in negotiations, that we would ask, "What is the highest and best good for your soul? What is the highest and best good for your soul?"
Oh,
I apologize for my little chihuahua. Come over here, mama. She's a little. I apologize for that. She's very demanding right now. But
okay.
asking what is the highest and best good for your soul, because a decision about something, or when you're making when you're in a tough moment and you're doubting yourself, what is the highest and best good for your soul right now?
Wow. So I think that rolls into the next part. Just is that question that you think everyone needs to ask themselves? Because I have two questions. I was, what was the question that changed your life, and then what is the question that you think everyone needs to ask themselves? So they both
Right.
roll in. What is the highest and best use for my soul?
Yeah, so I always recommend that one. And the second one is, what's the gift in this? What's the
What's
gift? Where do I find that? So as a matter of fact, that's my talk that I'm going to do in LA next month at the women's conference. It's called Finding the Gift. And
beautiful?
the gift from my jaw and all the things is I was able to create a story that's impacting other people to believe that even if they were told it's incurable, it's, you're not going to heal it, it's not possible, that there are possibilities, that there's something that we're not seeing. And so that finding the gift helped me help so many countless women that are like, you're right, I got to figure it out. I don't find the gift in this. And so, what's the gift in this? What's the lesson in this? What am I learning from this? When you do that, you open up your subconscious to learn
Yeah.
and to see things that you might be deleting, as if you're going, why is this always happening to me?
Love it. Love it.
Why
Love
is
it.
this always happening to me? Oh, because you're this, because you're that. Your subconscious mind will answer. Your wish is my command.
Yeah.
So ask powerful questions and change your destiny.
Amen. Woo, good stuff. I can't wait to learn more. So, you guys, we can find Yvette on Warriors and Queens. Give us the info, girl. Where can everybody sign up and find you?
Absolutely. Thank you. On social media, I'm Yvette Ulloa, spelled Ulloa. I would love to just send me a message. Let me know you found me on Target for Success with our dear Amy. And also, I have a free gift, Amy, if that's okay, if I can give it out.
Absolutely. We love gifts. You're the
Great.
best.
So David, I created a master course on relationships. We usually sell this course, but I wanted to gift it to every lady here on the call today. It is
Wow.
mastering the quality of your relationships and seeing where those gaps are that you may not see, that are stopping you from having that soul deep connection with somebody. So in this, we break it down. It's 3 video training. You also get a PDF of like what originates, like when somebody really triggers you and you're really angry, there's something much more to that. It's not just what they're doing. And so we help you dive deep into that so that you can basically release any unhealthy patterns and step into who you're supposed to be. That way, the right person will show up. So this master course is the jaw dropping solutions from something that could be broken to creating the beautiful love story. So the way you find it is you go to www.warriorsandqueens.com. The word and is spelled out AND. So warriorsandqueens.com / the number 3 and the word steps, STEPS. We'll give you a link. So warriorsandqueens.com / 3 steps. And from there, you'll be able to download the free course. It's my gift. It's a master course. So it's 3 video modules. And I promise you that course is already going to change your destiny. So Amy, I do it with so much love because your amazing community has so many incredible women. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support and love.
And thank you. And I feel your love and I receive it and I send you some back and all good things and big hugs to Dave too. And what a blessing and angel and all of that you have been. It has been so fun. And thank you for sharing just your beautiful light and inspiration with everyone here. Mwah.
Thank you. Yeah. Love you. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you at the retreat. We'll get all these women there. Go, girls, go.
Do it.
Thank you.